There it is. Hi, family.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for joining Overtime. Make sure to share us and let us know where you're at, what you're doing.
Is there a theme song for Overtime?
No theme song, no.
Not
no.
yet, but you're here.
Kathleen,
I
the
cannot.
first time on Overtime.
What an honor to be here. I'd like to thank my mom and my dad. I'd also like to thank Brian for going to New York.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
Fun.
so we didn't get a lot chance to unpack the worship versus praise. And yesterday we had Hannah on.
Yeah.
And she's going to the same boot camp you're
Yes.
going. So can you share what's your favorite thing you're learning about worship? Because you shared a little bit on the show to be mindful of like a lot of the things that we call worship, or even a lot of the songs
Yeah.
that we listen to and think are worship are not.
Well, it's been like a pretty interesting journey. I've only been doing it for a week.
Okay.
But what's been kind of crazy is I never really realized how much can't make eye
Thank
contact from. My worship is self-focused. So, Lord, help me, help
Right.
my baby, help
Yeah.
my husband.
Yeah.
Rather than being in awe of our Creator. And so there's kind of just like this shift in my mind. And a lot of times, I don't know, for me, when it's like a personal quiet time or something, a lot of times I feel it's very heavy. And like, oh, forgive me, I'm the worst.
Yeah.
And then you leave and you're like, whatever.
Yeah.
But what I had to do was I put on fun worship music that was very focused on God and celebrated Him. It's a song called "Oh Sing" by Elevation Worship. And I had it at a dance party. And I realized, like, that's certainly not for everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
But, like, I realized I can hang out with God the way I hang out with my friends. And He's not going to necessarily, like, dance with me like my friends would.
Yeah.
But for Him to know that, like, I want to spend time with you.
Right.
And you've given me this personality for a reason. So I'm going to dance. And there'll be other times where I will probably sit and cry. But that day, I think I just needed to have a dance party with God.
I love how it's not about pursuing things that you want or asking for things, but like basking in His presence. And I love the idea of like God looking at you and like laughing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I think of me when I look at my kids, and like you said, He created you the way He did, to just think like, because a lot of times we kind of picture Him as serious. But it just feels like such an intimate connection to just be like, it's just all about you and joyous in you and delighting in you. But then the feeling of that He could be delighting in you. Like it's a intimate connection, a moment of connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are ways, Ron, that you've that are your favorites in terms of worshiping? For some people, is being out in nature or listening to music. What helps you keep the right mindset with worship?
Sometimes I like singing, and it might be old hymns, and I think they carry a lot of momentum with me because I know them so well. You've been raised on them from childhood, so when you're singing them, it brings out more than just the words.
And one thing one of the girls in our group mentioned was she would listen to a song and she would write out like the words that stood out to her, and then she'd mark out like what the word meant. And one girl would draw a picture during her time of worship, and and she'd maybe say a word that reminded her of God, and then write in other words around it that support that particular word. And so I just think like there are so many ways to worship. It's not just one size fits all. And that's sort of what I've been just fascinated by, is I don't think I was ever taught, like, how do you worship?
Yeah.
How do you connect with your Creator? I always thought, oh, I connect with God through nature because that's when I'm most in awe of Him.
Yeah.
But I also really love sitting and writing.
Okay.
Like I like sitting and writing out the names of Jesus, and or listening to a song and seeing the words that pop out to me, like these are the truths. This is, and so I think that there are just a lot of ways that we haven't even begun to tap into connecting with our Creator.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining Overtime. Let us know, what does worship look like to you? We say hi to Misty. You usually join. Hi,
Yeah,
Misty.
hi, Misty.
And Quantaya, thank you for joining. Cindy, she's saying,
Hi, Mom.
you're welcome. You said thank you, Mom, in the beginning.
Yeah, that's
oh,
right.
I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Mom, Dad.
What does worshiping God look like to you? And you say, like, for everybody it looks differently, but even in different seasons.
Yeah.
Because when you're in seasons of waiting or seasons of suffering, I love the idea that God is, He meets us where we're at. When you look at the Psalms, you see that. And so I know His expectations aren't like, well, why aren't you joyful when, He's, whatever it is, it doesn't have to look the same all the time. And I find freedom and joy in that. You can just come as you are and just focus, in who He is.
But don't you think that even when you engage with, like your friends, it's not always going to be the best, most memorable, exciting time.
Right.
Sometimes something bad happens and you can cry together. Sometimes it's just kind of like nothing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, well, at least we connected today.
Right.
Right. So it just kind of depends.
Tamar, good morning, Tamar. She says, I think worship is the inner conversation that we have with our Father, inquiring of Him in all that we do, especially the big decisions, and trying to mirror Christ in all we do. Hi, Lisa. Lisa says worship is and has to become a lifestyle. They're kind of hinting at like it's more than a moment in our day.
In our day. It's all day.
Reminds me of Romans where it says, your life is an act of worship.
Yeah.
So one of the girls in the group, she created, I'm like stealing everything this girl does. She's
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
She created another account so that she can text God throughout the day. At first we were like, what?
Oh, that's
But
cool.
it's like, whenever she's grateful for something, like, oh God, thanks for my cup of coffee, thanks for connecting with friends today, she'll just send a thank you text to God to her like other account that she made.
Yeah.
But then what's cool is she can see all of the things that she's thankful for throughout her day. And of course you could just like write them down, but I think because we're such a engaged generation with our phone, like I think it added an element of like being connected with God.
Right.
And so I love that idea too, because throughout your day then you become more aware of like, what should I text God today?
Yeah, that's cool. And why not? Because I'm thinking, like, even for some people, prayer journaling helps, like in terms of like writing things down. So, I mean, take advantage of technology.
Definitely.
And, I love that idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea too.
I remember years ago, there was a radio program called the Chapel of the Air. David and Karen Maines were the hosts, and one of the things every year they do a 30-day God hunt, and they'd encourage the listeners, find God in your life every day. Where's God acting, and keep a journal of it, and then you can go back and see, all the things you've noticed God. Plus, it develops that habit.
Right.
That every day you're looking to see, how's God acting in my life? Oh, now I know.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for joining Brian and Janelle Overtime. It stays up on the air, so share it and continue to share with us what does worshiping look like in your life.